Gentlemen, we're back again with another episode of Felons Talk with John Greschner. And John wants to explain some things about solitary confinement, etc.
Yeah. I just want to talk about this. They're talking about there's a struggle going on this planet. There's two sides of the argument. One side is solitary confinement, sensory deprivation doesn't have any harmful effects on people. The other side says it drives everybody insane. Okay, so here's the thing. There should be, in this nation, there should be a massive class action lawsuit against the government by all races, all genders, everybody involved dealing with solitary confinement in this country. Solitary confinement and sensory deprivation is a form of psychological torture. It deprives the human mind of sustenance through denying it sensory stimulation. It's a form of suffocating the mind. It's a form of waterboarding the mind. You know how they torture motherfuckers? They pouring water in their face, make them think they're drowning. Well, they're drowning your mind. That's what solitary confinement and sensory deprivation is. They've been knowing that shit forever. There should be a massive movement in this country against the federal government, state governments, all that are using solitary in any capacity and suing them all and getting damages for every motherfucker that's committed suicide or died under those conditions, because the government knows, and they've been known, the results of that. It goes all the way back to your prisons in Pennsylvania in the 1600s, where the Quakers were calling them penitentiaries for penance. They'd put people in solitary and give them a Bible, and they were all fucking bugging out. And that's the truth of that. They know what that is. It results in murders, suicides, attacks, madness, everything. That's the exact thing that results from those types of conditions. This is why, like, I teach deep meditation, man. How you got to feed your own mind. You got to sustain your own mind, because what happens in solitary confinement, the way the mind works, the conscious mind needs to be in contact with the outside objective reality field and getting sustenance through the sensory apparatuses, the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, touch, tactile shit, and all that. If it doesn't get that, what it does is it starts having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and then it can start slipping into free-floating states of psychosis. This is why people start hearing voices, because now they're having audio hallucinations. Their subconscious, with all the stressors going on, is trying to sustain itself, and it starts talking to you, and they start having audio hallucinations. That's why all them guys start hearing voices and shit. That's exactly what that is, and they know what it does. And instead, what they want to do is they want to put you on psych meds and stun your mind with some more fucking chemical fucking lobotomies on people. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing all over this fucking planet right now. That's why the social system's so sick. They got everybody on fucking antidepressants, anti-bipolar meds, anti-fucking psychotics. That's what they're doing. They got everybody ill. They're all sick. That's why you're seeing your whole social system out there rotting. It's just rotting from the core. It's lost the ability, its immune system, to even defend itself, to fight anymore. And it's just succumbing to drugs. That's what's happening. And the more that happens, the more they resist, the more they're going to stuff them in solitary confinement shit. There should be massive revolts and class action lawsuits against this shit, against the government. That's what that is. And everybody that's lost a loved one, or that's been fucked up either through murder or suicide or whatever, should be on board and suing them for it and getting damages for that stuff. And they know that. That's what's happening with solitary confinement.
Right.
Any questions?
No, let's just talk about, what you do. You like 38 years in solitary?
Yeah, I did like a total of like 38 altogether, yeah.
So basically, but your mind's still pretty sharp.
Oh, I'm pretty sharp. You know why? I was born a madman. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Where you going? Where am I gonna
Yeah,
go?
I was fucking born free. I'm a rebel, man. I don't fucking bow down. I'm not bound down to nothing. It's either right or it's not. If it ain't right, I ain't bound down to it. I'm not selling out. I'm not selling out for my little 30 pieces of silver.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it. I keep fighting, man. Everybody knows my motto. What's up, motherfuckers? That's the truth. You gotta lean into it. You gotta fight it. See, I'm not part of these little fucked up paradigms that they live in. I'm a free man. I'm a free sentient being. I've always been that. The deeper I go into the meditation, introspection, contemplation processes, that deep shit that comes out of the mountains, man, that's my spirituality. It keeps me sane. It keeps me healthy. It keeps me intact. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I went through what's called Kriyas, the washing out of all those limitations, those psychoconceptual limitations, and all the stressors and all the bullshit that you accumulate down in your subconscious. When you start doing deep meditation, you start activating your internal energies, what they call the spiritual energies. It reverses the polarity and you start washing out the energies that bind you to those limited states.
Right.
So I went through all the Kriyas, all the healing on the physical, mental, emotional, psychic, spiritual levels. And I'm telling you, everybody goes through. These are the, like they talk about the dark nights of the soul. These are the processes you have to engage to fucking liberate yourself. But the bottom line is, I've been doing that since 1971.
Wow.
That's what I do. Every morning I'm up at 3:30 to 4 in the morning, chanting, meditating, doing all my stuff, right?
Right.
So the bottom line is, this is what you got to do. This is why, like Randy, started losing it. He started hearing voices. He just been in solitary to him. Conan's a classic, a fucking example of what happens in deep solitary for long periods of time. Owen Zeal is another one.
Yeah.
The guys I met out there in California, I was telling you about, that thinking they've been chipped up with fucking microprocessors. Those are classic symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia from doing long jolts in solitary confinement, sensory deprivation. And they know what it is. They did that last thing after them cops got killed in Marion. What they did is they knew this shit was coming. They planned the lockdown of Marion years before that. Then they brought in that new warden, Harold Miller. Their own cops testified in the United States Congress that everything he did seemed designed to destabilize the prisoner population and make shit happen. They needed statistical data to lock Marion down and then say, okay, this is the right mission. And this is what they were saying. This is the right mission, but the wrong type of facility. We need new physical plants. So they start building these ADXs, these supermaxes, in solitary confinement things. And they needed sufficient shit to happen for the federal courts to rubber stamp it and say, okay, these are the worst of the worst. That came out of the 7th Circuit in Chicago. This is the worst of the worst. We need to put them all the bad apples in one bucket. That's what they were doing. That's what led. Once it was approved in front of the Marion Federal Penitentiary in that courtroom by Magistrate Myers, and then Judge Foreman in Benton, Illinois rubber stamped it, then the 7th Circuit rubber stamped it, then the United States Supreme Court rubber stamped it. They started building supermaxes all over the United States, state and federal prisons, to put people in solitary confinement with sensory deprivations, knowing what the results were. That's because they're getting ready to go into this war on drugs, and they're getting ready to lock up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens, and they're going to start kidnapping people from overseas and bringing them into the United States, and that's exactly what started happening. It was all a fucking plot by the government. That's what they were doing, knowing what the detrimental results are. I'm telling you, there should be a massive revolt and a massive fucking class action lawsuit against federal and state governments for what they did to their own citizens. It's torture.
Yeah. So
really,
Randy Gomez started hearing voices, huh?
You got all kinds of psychiatrists, psychologists, everything else will get up in court and testify to the exact same shit I'm telling you.
So Randy Gomez started hearing voices too, huh?
Yeah, he started fucking hearing voices. He was in the cell Remember that dude, that Emmy dude that rolled over on them dudes in L.A. named Cowboy? Okay, when he was
Yeah.
at the ADX, he came outside my window when I got out of the Sam cells, and I was in the main line out there in the ADX, and he was telling me that Randy's hearing voices, and they started talking over the vent, and Cowboy's a Christian, so he got Randy, started reading the Bible and stuff, so Randy's hanging onto the Bible like a fucking
Lifesaver.
personal flotation device.
Yeah.
And trying to stay sane, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened to him.
Yeah.
You know, he even Randy told me, he came in my window, telling me he was scared to come and talk to me because he thought I was going to criticize him because now he became a Bible thumper.
Yeah.
And I told him, you got to do what you got to do, man. I understand it. He told me I started hearing voices talking to me.
Damn.
You know what I mean? That's your subconscious talking to you. That's what happens in deep solitary confinement for long periods of time. It induces states, varying degrees of paranoid schizophrenia, psychosis, bipolar conditions, all of it.
Yeah,
That's what it
for
does,
sure.
and the government knows that. They should be sued for it.
Yeah.
There should be a fucking straight up revolt dealing with that shit. And that's the truth of that, man. So when you got guys going in the showers trying to hide from the voices they're hearing, wondering what the fuck it is and all that, you know, those are symptoms of this. And listen, the government, under the law, has got a duty. They owe you a duty of care to protect you, not only from physical shit, but mental, psychological shit, all types of harms. When they themselves are doing it to you, it's torture. It's a violation of law. They should all be sued.
Yeah, definitely. How many people does ADX?
No, that's the truth, man.
How many people does ADX hold altogether?
I don't know, maybe about 500, I think.
So it's just like Marion, huh? I mean, Marion was
Yeah.
Marion
So,
held less than 400 people, I think.
Yeah, Marion had a total of like 500, but usually it was 430 to 450 at tops, right?
Right. There was empty cells. Yeah, it's a small prison, bro. For this, you know. Yeah, they doubled up now.
Yeah, they built more of them.
They doubled Marion up now. They double celled it. They renovated the whole fucking thing.
And they built other units there too.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they built some other type. Once they moved us out of there in '95, they shut it down for a minute, renovated it, lowered the custody level. Too.
Named Lehman, a show called The Key Term.
Yeah.
He was there from like 82 till like 2005 or something like that. He was there for 23 years, and he watched the transition, and you know, to now it's a sex offender spot where they got all these fucking chomos, you know, mostly
absolutely.
internet chomos for the most part, and they got programs for them now, trying to deprogram them from being you know, sex offenders, chomos.
Perversions.
Yeah, they're perversions, right?
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's possible, but
deep sicknesses they've developed in this social system. It's not just internet shit like with chomos and shit. There's all types of fucking deviancy, perversions going on. And they're co-signing. We had a conversation about this one time before. In my lifetime, I remember when you'd go to jail for that shit. And now it's been legalized.
What? What are you talking about?
See, sexual deviancy.
Oh. You're not talking about child molestation.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's a slippery slope. Once you start getting into all that deviant sexual behavior, it's a slippery slope going downhill. You'll get into fucking child molestation, fucking bestiality, having sex with fucking animals and everything else. That's the truth of that. They know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they got programs for them.
They got their little religious paradigms going about this and that, angels and devils and demons and gods and all that. Let me tell you something. Those motherfuckers are the demons.
Yeah.
You want to talk about demons? They're it.
They had a big
Look
thing,
at their
man.
agendas. Look what they're pushing.
Listen, they have a prison here in like Fort Dix, New Jersey. It's pretty big. It's two minimum joints side by side. It holds about 3,000 guys. A lot of chomos in population, right? Well, they got hold of a bunch of cell phones, right? And they're downloading child porn on the fucking phones, dude. And yeah,
Absolutely.
and they caught him, and they gave him significant more sentences on top of what they were already doing. What a bunch of fucking
Yeah.
perverts, man! Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it just goes to show you
They couldn't
how
stop.
the whole social system has degenerated, and
Yeah,
it's spiraling downward. It ain't getting no better. You know, all systems, all social constructs go through like these 4 phases: the golden age, the idealistic age, the silver age, where it's decomposing, degenerating a little bit. Then they got what's called the Iron Age, it's getting dark. Then they got what's called the Kali Yuga, the dark period. Right now, America's in the Kali Yuga. On this planet, in many areas, it's in the Kali Yuga. Kali means dark, the dark period, and you're witnessing the dark period in this country right now.
Where does that word come from?
The breakdown of everything. You know what I mean?
Where does that word Kali Yuga come from?
It's Sanskrit.
Oh,
You know the language Sanskrit. They talk about the language of the gods.
from India, I guess, right?
Yeah. Indo-Aryan, all that type stuff over there. But those are the stages it goes through. I was looking at a thing on Fox News.
Yeah.
Where they Life, Liberty, and Levin, and they had some other guys talking on there, and social scientists and everything else. And they're saying, man, they don't know if this social system can even recover.
Yeah.
It's devolving and breaking down at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's my message on solitary confinement. They are deliberately torturing, psychologically torturing, suffocating minds, and inducing states of madness, homicide, suicide, everything else. They should be sued, massive class actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, bro.
All
right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Man. You guys have a good one. Stay up, stay well, and I'll holler at you later.
All right, bro.
Later.
The caller has hung up.
It's up to you. What do you think? Make a statement. Tell me what you think of all this. What is it? How does that work out with the way you think? You know, leave a suggestion, ask a question, or just leave your comments about all this, what you really feel. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.